Hello, my class 11th student. Today again I am going to start chapter first from your book Statistic for Economics. Topic is Introduction. This is part 5th. In this video we are going to discuss about limitations of statistic and importance of statistic, and in this way this chapter will over. Okay, so before starting the limitation of statistic, I want to make a quick revision. Okay, so in this video we had learned, in this chapter actually, meaning of economics, then economic problem, scarcity of resources, economic problem, and then about the statistic, meaning of statistic in singular sense. So what is the meaning? Statistic in singular sense means statistical method, and there are five statistical method: collection, presentation, organization, analysis, interpretation. Okay, and in plural sense statistic means only data. Okay, now we are going to learn about the limitations of statistic. So first limitation is a study of numerical facts only. So when I had told you about a statistic, its meaning in plural sense, so I had told you some features. So just you write it in a negative sense, so it become the limitations. There we had learned about it is only a study of quantitative aspect. Okay, so this is its demerit, that ki it cannot explain qualitative aspect. Means here we can only discuss that we can express in number. A statistic is the study of only those aspects that we can explain in number. Okay, that we cannot explain in number, we cannot represent in number, we cannot discuss in statistic, like honesty, friendship, wisdom, health, patriotism, justice. These are the things that explain the quality. Okay, and these things we cannot represent in number, we cannot represent in number. So that is why we cannot study these things in statistic. Okay, in a statistic what we can study, that we can represent in number. So what we can represent in number, we can represent in number income. Okay, we can represent income, profit, expenditure, sales, population. Okay, so there are so many things. Anything that we can represent in number, we can study: weight, height, okay, and population, density, expenditure, salary, income, expenditure, losses, profit. So these are the part of our subject. We can study it in statistic. Okay, so I think the first topic it is clear. So anything that we cannot represent in, we cannot express in number, that is not the part of statistic. Okay, so statistic study only such fact as can be expressed in number. Okay, that cannot be expressed in number cannot be studied in statistic. Now second, study of aggregates only. So when I had explained you features of statistic, in pure sense, so I had told you it is a study of aggregates fact only, aggregate facts. Now it is limitation also, कि it is not a study of individual unit, it is not the study of individual unit. Statistic is always related to aggregate, it is related to average. Okay, like only there is given the salary of Ram is this, the height of Sham is 46 kg. Okay, his weight is 46 kg, his height is 6.2, okay, inch. So these are the not part of a statistic, it is not the study of individual unit, it is always study of group, it is a study of aggregates. Okay, so study statistic study only aggregates of quantitative fact, it does not study statistical facts relating to a particular unit. So here is given कि if your class teachers on 50,000 per month, so this is not a statistic. But if there is given that uh, income of school teachers across all part of the country, then it is a statistic. Why? Because it is the average. It is the average. Okay, when we find out every teacher's income and then we divide the number of the teacher, what we get? Average income of our teachers in our country. So in this way, that is average and that become the part of statistic. So aggregate statistic never study individual data related to one. Okay. Now, the third, homogeneity of data as an essential requirement. So, for studying, it is compulsory that if you are having two data, so it is going to be same way. Like if there is class 11th A and there is class 11th C. Okay. So if here is given weight, so here is also weight of all the student. Here should be also weight of all the student. Suppose here is given average weight of 11th A and here is given average height of 11C. So we cannot compare in this case. Why? Because weight is measured in another measurement unit and height is measured in another measurement unit. We can study this if average height, average weight of given 11th A and average weight of given 11C. If there is given weight, to here is also given weight. If here is given height, so here we requirement of height, not weight. Means same the data will be homogeneous. Okay, so then only we are able to compare. Okay, so that is written here. To compare data, it is essential that statistics are uniform. Uniform means same. Okay, in quality. Data diverse quality and kind cannot be compared. For example, production of food grain cannot be compared with the production of cloth. Why? Because cloth is measures in meter and food grains in ton, so we cannot compare. Same way, if height of class 11th A student is given, so for the class 11C there should be also height of a student, not weight. So there will be same measurement unit. Okay, now next, results are true only on average. Okay, most statistical finding are true only as average. They express only the broad tendencies. They express only the broad tendency. Unlike the law of natural science, our statistical observation are not error free. There are average valid under all conditions. For instance, if it is said that per capita income in India is 50,000 per annum, its mean does not that every individual is going to get 50,000. Okay, it does not mean that every and each Indians is 50,000 per annum. Okay, some may get more and some may get less. Okay, so it is only a tendency. It is going to represent the tendency of all the people. Ki means our income increasing or our income is decreasing compared to previous years or compared to any country. Okay, but it is not that ki every individual is going to get 50,000. Okay, so it is represent only average. Result are true only on average. Here is I had written one more example. Study of an individual is not the part of subject matter of a statistic. For example, there are 5 workers in a factory. Okay, one is getting 750 as a wage, second worker is getting 650, third is 250, four worker getting 850 as a wage, and fifth is getting 700. When we do the sum total, we get 3200. A total number of the worker is how many? 5. Okay, so when we calculate average is what? X bar is equal to sigma x upon n. Sigma x, sum total of this, and n matlab number of the items. So how many worker are there? 5. Okay, so when we put this value, so we get 640. This is the average wage. This average wage does not explain that every worker, every 5 worker is getting wage equal to 640. Some of them are getting more than 640 and some of them are getting less than 640. Like this worker, he is getting less than and fourth worker is and fifth worker is getting more than, second is also getting more than 640, and one is also getting more than 640. Okay. Now next is without reference result may prove to be wrong. In order to understand the conclusion precisely, it is necessary that circumstance and condition under which these are conclusion has been drawn also studies. Otherwise, they may prove to be wrong. So, without reference, you cannot understand thing. Like I'm going to explain you with an example. Now, suppose here is given real GDP, and here is written nominal GDP. Okay, so the equation for calculating real GDP is P multiply Q. Here is also P multiply Q. Now here is P is 10 and Q is 20. So it will be 200. Okay. Now in this case, if P is 20 and Q is 20, it is 400. So if there is debate on the news channel, and suppose who are supporter of the government, they are going to represent the data related to nominal GDP. They will say कि our nominal GDP is 400. And on the other hand, who are opposite party leaders, they are going to say they are going to discuss about the real GDP, that is 200. Okay, what is difference between them? This P is related to constant year price and this P is related to current year price. Okay, so देखो, now real GDP is going to represent the true condition of a country. On the other hand, nominal GDP is not going to represent the true condition of a country. Okay, so in this way, if only they are discussing GDP, they are not mentioning nominal or real. Yeah, it is not, they can common people cannot understand the real GDP and nominal GDP. So they are just discussing GDP according to the supporters. Our GDP is 400, and who are in opposite side, they are saying that GDP is 200. So you are going to confuse. So this is what, if there is not proper reference, there is not proper explanation, so you cannot understand. It is going to you mislead. Okay. Now, can be used only by the expert. So obviously, statistic is not for the common person, is not for the um, common person, lay person, okay, layman. Why? Because in statistic, if you want to do inquiry, first of all, what you have to do, you have to decide objective of the inquiry, then you require collection, then organization, then presentation, then analysis, then interpretation. So it requires very mathematical process. Okay, everything is related to mathematical process. So no common person or who are not having the knowledge of statistical tools, the use of statistical tool, they cannot make use of it proper. Okay, so that this is why here is written, it is only for the expert who know how to do the collection, how to do the organization, how to do the representation, how we can calculate average, how we can interpret it, can conclude. Okay, so it is only statistic is the subject that is only for expert. Okay, actually statistic is only used by the those person who are doing research work. Okay, for conclusion they require. Okay, now what is written here? So statistic can be used only by those person who have a special knowledge of statistical method. How many statistical method? There are 5 statistical method: collection, organization, presentation, analysis, and interpretation. So the person who know all these methods, all these tools, all these stages properly, how to use them, then that person only can make the use of statistic. So those who are ignorant about these method cannot make sensible use of statistic. So it can therefore be said that the data in the hand of an unqualified person is like a medicine in the hand of quack who may abuse it. Obviously, so if a person who is not having the proper knowledge of medicine, if you are suffering from fever and he is giving you some medicine that is not related to your disease, so what happen, it will be going to worse your condition. Okay, so same way is with a statistic. A person who is having proper knowledge, only that person can make its proper use. Otherwise, the person who is not having the proper knowledge, not having the proper use of it, so he is going to only give a misleading result. Okay, so that is why Yule and Kendall has told that statistical methods are more dangerous tool in the hand of an inexpert. Okay. Now, so limitations has over. If you want to learn limitations, so very simple tips is that ki whatever feature you had learned in plural sense, when you are studying the meaning of a statistic in plural sense, just do it opposite. It is only study. There is what it is a study of quantitative aspect. So what you are going to write here, it is only the study of quantitative aspect only. There is, it is a study of aggregate facts. यहाँ पे आपको क्या कर देना, only कर देना. It is only study of aggregate facts. Okay, so in this way you can find out, yeah, you can easily learn limitations of a statistic. Now, importance and function of a statistic, how a statistic is useful, okay, in our subject. So first, quantitative expression of economic problem. So statistic help to understand any economic problem in more proper way. Like if I tell that ki the India is facing overpopulation problem, so this line is not going to explain the seriousness of the problem. Okay, but if I'm going to explain that India will in the population of India will increase in 2024 and it become more than China. It will become the most populated nation in early 2024 and it is going to the population of India is going to be more than China. Okay, so what happened, it become a uh, good explanation. Okay, now next is like if I'm going to say ki our the situation of COVID-19 is becoming worse, so it is not going to give you proper situation, the knowledge of the proper situation. But if I'm going to tell you that there is a total of 2,36,657 patients of COVID-19. Okay, and in all over the world there are 60 lakh people have infected by the COVID-19. So you can understand how much COVID-19 is a pandemic. Okay, so whenever any economic problem or any problem is explained with the help of the data, it become more appropriate. Now what is written here, so any economic problem, but it problem of unemployment, the problem of price, the problem of sinking export, the first task of economist is to understand the magnitude through its quantitative expression. Okay, so it is helpful to explain economic problem with magnitude. Okay, one example is written here. If it is the problem of unemployment, we make its quantitative expression is stating that 20% of India's working population is unemployment, and that between the year 2005 to 2019 the percentage of unemployment working people has tended to increase from 18% to 94%. So I think after this explanation with the fact in number, you are able to understand the seriousness or crucial problem of unemployment in more better way. Now next is intersectoral and intertemporal comparison. Okay, sector name, the meaning of this heading is in its name. Okay, intersector, when there is compare across different sector, then it is known as a intersectoral compare. Okay, intertemporal, the temper means time, remember T for time. Okay, so when there is a compare over the time, okay, when there is compare over the time, then it is known as a intertemporal comparison. So let me Understand? Economists do not stop merely at the quantitative expression of the problem. They would try to further comprehend it through the intersectoral and intertemporal comparison. For intersectoral comparison, we mean comparison across different sector of the economy. So that is the meaning that you are going to write in your copy. Okay. So from intersectoral comparison, we mean comparison across different sector of the economy. For example, take the problem of unemployment. The economists would like to know the magnitude of unemployment across rural and urban sector of economy. If we are going to discuss the problem of unemployment, how many people are unemployed in rural area, how many people are unemployed in urban area, so what is this is a intersectoral comparison. Okay, now they would like to know what the percentage of rural, okay, it is given now. Intertemporal, so this is the meaning. Intertemporal comparison means understanding of change in magnitude of the problem over the time. Whenever we are going to discuss about a problem and its change it changes that come over the period of time, then it is considered as a intertemporal comparison. Okay, student. Now if you are going to discuss about the unemployment problem, how many people are unemployed before the lockdown and after the lockdown, so this is what intersectoral comparison. Or we can study how many people are unemployed in 2020 and how many people are unemployed in 2010, so this is what, this is intertemporal comparison. Okay, so when there is any economic issue are discussed during the over different time period, then it is called intertemporal comparison. And when there is discussion of any economic problem within the different sectors, then it is what, it is intersectoral comparison. Okay, now working out causes and effect relationship. So here we are going to learn about how one thing is going to affected with different factors. Okay, so here is given, economists try to find out cause and effect relationship between different sets of data. This enabled to attempt an effective diagnosis of the problem. According to suggest some effective remedies. So here is given one example. Suppose if there is a fall in the demand. So if because of fall in the demand, if there is fall in the investment, so policymaker can give suggestion to government to adopt such measures that would going to increase the demand. Suppose there is fall in the aggregate demand, so it's result that when there is less demand, people is going to purchase less goods and services, so there will be unsold stock in the market. Result will be that producer will produce less good and services. Okay, so there will be, when less production of good and services, so there will be less investment. So when AD will fall, so there will be unwanted stock in the result, production will decrease. When production will decrease, investment will decrease. Okay, now after studying this, when what I had written when aggregate demand of all the people will fall, result will that unwanted stock. Okay, unwanted stock of goods and services, so result will be what, fall in the production. When there will be fall in the production, there will be fall in investment. So this is the study of the expert. So what they will suggest, ki if there will be increase in aggregate demand, so we can correct this problem. Okay, so this is what written here, ki with the help of the data we are able to understand how one problem is emerged and how we can get the solution of it. Okay, Now, construction of economic theory and economic model. So in economics, in 11th class, when you are going to discuss, we are going to learn about the microeconomics. So we are going to learn about law of demand, law of supply, okay, and we are going to discuss about producer equilibrium, consumer equilibrium, okay. So all these law and all these theory is always based upon what? On the based upon statistic, on the based upon number, okay. How they come in existence? When data are collected. How we come to know that whenever price is going to be high, so in result demand is going to be low. This is known as law of demand. This is known as law of demand. So how we come to know? When the economists collect the data over the 20 or 30 years, they find that whenever price is high, the demand is low. So this become what? Law of demand. कि जब भी commodities की price high होती है, हम उसको कम purchase करते हैं. ये क्या होता है? Law of demand. How we come to know about this law? When economists collected the data over a time period and they find this result कि जब भी प्रोडक्ट की प्राइस हाई होती है हम कम कम उसको खरीदते हैं, जब उसकी प्राइस कम हो जाती है तो हम इसे ज़्यादा खरीदते हैं. जैसे अनियन, वेन एवर द प्राइस ऑफ अनियन इज लो वी आर गोइंग टू परचेज मोर, वेन द प्राइस ऑफ अनियन इज हाई वी आर गोइंग टू परचेज लो. सो दिस इज वॉट? लॉ ऑफ demand, okay. So without a statistic, without the statistic, there will be no economic theory, there will be no economic model, and there will be no law. So all these are based upon statistic, okay. So what is economic theory? It is an establishment statistical relationship between set of statistical data offering conclusion of economic significance. The well-known inverse relation between price of commodity and its demand is an established statistical relationship. Therefore, it is a part of economic theory. Is construction of theoretical relation or model possible without statistical experiment? Certainly not. So you can explain all these things in your own word. You can write one line कि without a statistic, without the use of the numerical fact, we cannot get any law, any theory, any model of economics. All these things are based upon data, okay. Now, formulation of policy. So next importance, yeah, uh, importance of statistic is formulation of policies. So government, how government or our finance minister decide ki what will be the tax, which quantity is going to be, she is going to impose high tax, on which commodities and services she is going to impose less tax, okay. So all these things are decided with the help of the data. When data are collected, according to that there will be the policy formulation. Like agar GDP growth rate in agriculture sector is continuously 3%, it's mean what? There is requirement or more investment to provide more assistance to farmers को और अधिक हेल्प करने की ज़रूरत है. क्यों? क्योंकि वो नया इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं कर रहे हैं, इसीलिए एग्रीकल्चर फील्ड में प्रोडक्शन बढ़ नहीं रहा है, ओके. सो इन दिस वे व्हेन द डेटा विल, when finance minister and expert is having the data, according to that they are going to formulate the policy. So without the data we cannot formulate any policy regarding taxation, regarding subsidy, okay. So how does finance minister decide to increase or decrease taxation as a source of government revenue? Obviously through the statistical studies. It is through statistical investigation that the finance minister gets a feedback on the tax paying capacity of the people, revenue needs of the government. Accordingly, tax rates are fixed to get maximum possible revenue with minimum possible discomfort to the पीपल. सो इम्पॉर्टेंटली टैक्स किस पे इम्पोज करना है, किस पर कितना टैक्स इम्पोज करना है, ये सारी चीज़ें कैसे डिसाइड होती है? विद द हेल्प ऑफ द data, okay. जो who are earning less than 3 lakh, they are not going to pay any tax. How the government had decided, okay. So these are the thing how the government decide its policy. It depend upon the data, okay. Now economic equilibrium, this is the last importance of a statistic. So in class 11th you are going to learn about many things, okay, and in class 12th also you are going to learn about many things, okay. Economic equilibrium is related to if you talk about the economic equilibrium, so you are talking about when there is full employment level. So when a country is able to get full employment level, it is totally depend upon the data. Without data you cannot tell ki what will be the level of income. I know these are things are not very easy, but if you learn again and again, so obviously you are able to understand. And no doubt, the first chapter is you are able to understand more properly when you are able to understand second and third chapter of a statistic. Okay, so like what do you mean by economic equilibrium? Is that condition when aggregate demand is really equal to aggregate supply, and that you are going to learn in your class 12th. Okay, in your class 11th you are going to learn about other equilibrium, like consumer equilibrium. So whenever consumer equilibrium is decided when marginal utility of x is equal to price of x. Here you are going to learn about producer equilibrium, when it is decided when MC is equal to MR and MR and MC cuts MR curve from below. So in 11th class, two equilibrium you are going to learn, consumer equilibrium and producer equilibrium. Okay, student? So economic equilibrium, it is a state of balance for the producer and for the consumer, where the producer finds maximum profit and consumer get maximum satisfaction. It is through the use of statistical method, and that you are going to learn in your class 12th. Okay, so ultimately this chapter has over. I know it is not very easy for you. You are studying economics first time, but don't worry, it is not so hard. This is your first chapter. When you go to second chapter, you learn the second chapter of statistic, so it is quite easy. Okay, when you learn second and third chapter, now you are able to understand this first chapter more properly. Okay, student, work hard. uh, at least download your NCRT book, that is available without any expenditure. Okay, so go and download your NCRT book. Okay, it's PDF and read your NCRT book. And if you had purchased VK Huri book, so learn it from read it from there. Okay, and try to understand. When you work hard, there is nothing that you are going to feel too hard. Okay, and no doubt your commerce subject is very fruitful for your future. If you are going to take commerce subjects, so you can do many things. You are able to compete more better way in banking sector, in management sector. Okay, and these are the upcoming sector where you can easily get job. Okay, student. Okay, thank you for today.